Welcome to my channel, Mummy's Viz. Today, we are going to learn about the lesson called Fiber to Fabric. Friends, during the end of the video, if you like the video, don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe. Friends, now let's get into the lesson. Fiber to Fabric. Fiber are very thin thread-like strands from which fabrics or clothes are made. Some examples of fibers are cotton, wool, silk, flax, jute, nylon, polyester and polyacrylic. The fibers are spun into yarn, long continuous thread which can then be woven on a loom to make a fabric or cloth. Yarn is a kind of long twisted thread. Yarn is made from fiber by which the process of spinning. Types of fibers. There are two types of fibers, natural fibers and man-made fiber. For example, nylon and rayon. Some of our clothes are made from yarn derived from the animal fiber. These are the types of natural fibers as they are obtained from nature. Natural fibers are the fibers which are obtained from the natural sources like plants and animals. Fibers obtained from animals. Some fibers are obtained from plants and some fibers are obtained from animals. Wool and silk fibers are obtained from animals. Wool is obtained from the fleece hair of sheep or yak, and silk fibers comes from cocoons of the silkworm. Wool. The wool comes from animal like sheep, goat, yak, camel, llama and alpaca. The wool yielding animals bear a thick coat of hair on their body, the hair which gives us wool and keeps them warm during the cold winter season. The hair, wool on the body of wool yielding animals trap a lot of air. Air spaces between the wool fiber trap air since the air is a poor conductor of heat. So, the air trapped in hair shields the body from cold and keeps them warm in winter. The hair close to a skin are hair on a body and arms are soft, and the hair on our head is coarse hair. Like us, the hairy skin of sheep has two types of fibers, that from its fleece or wool, example the coarse of bed hair and the fine soft under hair close to the skin. The fine soft under hair provide the fiber to make wool. To obtain breeds of sheep that process only fine under hair, their parents are carefully chosen. This process of selecting parents for obtaining special characters in their offspring, such as soft underhair in sheep, is termed as selective breeding. Such sheep give not only better quality of wool but their yield per sheep is also higher. Animals that yield wool. Wool commonly available in the market is sheep wool. Several breeds of sheep are found in different parts of our country. However, the fleece of sheep is not the only source of wool. There are the other sources of wool also. Other sources of wool are yak wool is common in Tibet and Ladakh. Angora wool is obtained from Angora goats in hilly regions such as Jammu and Kashmir. The underfur of Kashmir goat is soft and it is woven into the fine shawls called pashmina shawls. The fur hair on the body of camels is used as a wool. Llama and alpaca found in South America are also yielding wool. Some Indian breeds of sheep which provides wool. So friends, in this tabular column, first column is based on name of a breed and name of the sheep. And second column is based on quality of wool. Third column is based on name of the state where found. First one, Lohi. Good quality of wool, Rajasthan and Punjab. Rampur Bushehr, brown fleece, Uttar Pradesh and Himachal Pradesh. Nali, carpet wool, Rajasthan, Haryana and Punjab. Bakwal, for woolen shawls, Jammu and Kashmir. Marwari, cause wool, Gujarat. Patanwadi, for Hosiri, Gujarat. From fibers to wool. The wool comes mainly from sheep. For obtaining wool, sheep are reared and bred. Their hair is cut and processed into wool. We will first discuss the rearing of breeding of sheep. The rearing and breeding of sheep. The rearing of sheep means to look after the sheep by providing them food, shelter and health care. The persons who look after the sheep or rears are called sheepherds. Sheep are herbivores and prefers to eat grass and leaves, so sheepherds take the herds of sheep to the countryside for grazing. Apart from of the sheep grazing, sheep breeds also feed them a mixture of pulses, corn, jowar, oil cakes, material left after talking out oil from seeds and minerals. In winter, sheep are kept indoors and feed on leaves, grain and dry fodder. And so the breeding of sheep is done to obtain such breeds of sheep which yield good quality of wool in large quantities. These breeds of sheep have a thick coat of hair on their body and are also called sheep of good breeds. This raises the quality and quantity of wool produced. Once the reared sheep have developed a thick coat of hair, the hair is shaved off for getting wool. The cut of wool coat of a sheep along with a thin layer of skin is called fleece. The fleece consists of soft woolen fibers. The fleece of sheep is usually kept in one place. Processing of fiber into wool. The wool, which is used for knitting sweaters, for weaving shawls, is a finished product of a long process. Processing of fibers into wool involves the following steps: processing of fibers, shearing, scouring, sorting, birds, again scoured and dried, dyeing, and pressed wool. Step 1. The fleece of the sheep along with their layer of the skin is removed from the body. This process is called shearing. The hair of the sheep is shaved off by using a shaving machine similar to the used by barbers. Shearing does not hurt the sheep because the uppermost layer of the skin of sheep is dead. The shearing cut the hair of sheep is done in hot weathering of summer so that the sheep may survive without their productive coat of hair. The hair of sheep grow again before the onset of winter and protect them in cold weather. The onset of winter and protect them in cold weather. The fleece or hair of sheep provides woolen fibers. Woolen fibers are then processed to obtain woolen yarn. Step 2. The fleece of the sheep or cut hair of sheep contains dust, dirt, dry sweat and grease, etc. So the sheet hair of sheep is thoroughly cleaned by washing with soap or detergent and a lot of water in tanks. This process is washing of sheet hair is called scouring. Scouring make the fleece of sheep clean. The scoured fleece is then dried. Nowadays, scouring is done by machines. Step 3. After scouring, sorting is done. The process of separating the fleece of a sheep into sections according to the quality of woolen fibers such as fine, coarse, long, short, etc. is called sorting. In sorting, the hair skin is sent to a factory. When hair of different textures separated or sorted, every section of wool obtained after sorting contains the same quality wool. The same quality wool obtained is then mixed together. Step 4. The small fluffy fibers called burrs are picked up from the hair. Burrs are soft fluffy fibers in wool. After this, the fibers are scoured again and dried. The wool obtained after this is ready to be drawn into fibers. Step 5. The natural fleece of hair of sheep or goat is white, brown or black in color. The white woolen fiber obtained by sorting can be dyed in different color. Step 6. The fibers are straightened, combed and rolled into yarn. The long woolen fibers are spun or twisted into thick yarn called wool, which is used for knitting sweaters, etc. The short woolen fibers are spun into fine yarn and then woven and loomed to make woolen clothes like shawls and etc. Finally, we conclude that the sheep's hair is sheared off from the body, skirt, sorted, dyed, combed and spun to obtain wool for knitting sweaters and woolen yarn for weaving cloth. The quality of woolen cloth depends on the breed of sheep from which wool is obtained. Now let's learn about occupational hazard. The woolen industry is an important source of livelihood for many people in our country. The people who do the job of sorting, separating the fleece of sheep into fibers of different qualities are called sorters. The sorters' job is very risky because sometimes they get infected by the bacteria called anthrax, which cause a deadly blood disease called sorter disease. The risk faced by people working in any industry due to nature of their work are called occupational hazard. Sorter disease is an occupational. Friends, today we are going to learn about what is silk. Silk is a natural fiber which is obtained from an insect called silk moth. So, silk fiber are also animal fibers. Silkworms spin the silk fibers. The silk fiber is made up of a protein. Silk is the strongest natural fiber. Sericulture. Sericulture means silk farming. The rearing of silkworms for obtaining silk is called sericulture. It's a very old occupational in India. India produces a lot of silk on a commercial scale. Before we discuss the process of obtaining silk, it is necessary to know the interesting life story of the silk moth. Life history of silk moth. Formation of silkworm. The female silk moth lays eggs on mulberry leaves. The eggs are hatched in very small larvae within a week. The larvae of silk moth are called caterpillar or silkworm. The silkworm feed on the leaves of mulberry tree and grow bigger in size. Development of cocoon. When the silkworm or caterpillar is ready to enter the next stage of its development called pupa, it first weaves a net to hold itself. Then it swings its head from side to side. During these movements of head, the silkworm secretes fiber made of protein which hardens on exposure to air and becomes silk fiber or silk thread. Soon, the silkworm or caterpillar covers itself by silk fibers and turns into pupa. This covering is known as silk cocoon. The silkworm continues to develop in the form of pupa inside the cocoon to form the silk moth. What is the production of silk? In order to produce silk, the silkworm developing inside the cocoon as pupa is not allowed to mature into an adult silk moth. So as soon as the cocoon is formed, it is used to obtain silk fibers and The developing silkworm as pupa. The killed some of the silkworm as pupae or however allowed to live and mature into silk moths so that they can lay eggs to produce more silkworms. There is a variety of silk moths which look very different from one another, and the silk yarn they yield is different in texture, coarse, smooth, shiny, and etc. Thus, Tessar silk, Cossack silk, Moga silk, and etc. are different types of moths. The most common silk moth is mulberry silk moth. The silk obtained from the cocoons of mulberry silk moth is called mulberry silk. Mulberry silk is soft, lustrous, shiny, and elastic and can be dyed in beautiful colors. Pure and artificial silk. Pure silk is obtained from the cocoons of silkworm and it is made up of a protein. Artificial silk is obtained from wood pulp and it is made up of modified plant material cellulose. Just like silk, wool is also made up of proteins. Such a piece of woolen fabric also burns, giving the smell of burning hair. The thread which burns give a smell of burning paper will be cotton fibers. Cotton and paper both are carbohydrates. Paper is made up of cellulose obtained from wood pulp. So on burning cotton and paper both give similar smell. From cocoon to silk. For obtaining silk, silk moths are reared and their cocoons are collected to get silk thread. That means the process goes like silk moth to rearing silkworms, processing silk and reeling silk. Rearing silkworms. Female silk moths lays 100 of eggs at a time. The eggs are stored carefully on strips of paper or cloth and sold to silkworm farmers. The farmers keep eggs under hygienic conditions. They warm them to a suitable temperature of the larvae to hatch from egg. The larvae are kept in clean bamboo trays along with young and freshly chopped mulberry leaves. After 25 to 30 days, the silkworm stopped eating and started spinning the cocoons. Small racks of twins may be provided in the trays to which cocoons get attached. Processing silk. The cocoons are collected and boiled in water to kill the insect. Inside them, the resulting fiber is known as raw silk. The silk fibers separate out, rearing the silk. The process of talking are fibers from the cocoon for use as silk is known as reeling the silk. Reeling is done in special machines. Silk fibers are spun into silk threads which are woven into silk cloth by weavers. Discovery of silk. The discovery of silk was made in China a long time back. According to an old Chinese legend, the Empress Saint Tongqi was asked by the Emperor Hong Ti to find the cause of their damaged leaf of mulberry trees growing in their garden. The Empress found white worms eating up mulberry leaves, so she also noticed that they were spinning shiny cocoons around them. Accidentally, a cocoon dropped into her cup of tea. A tangle of delicate threads separated the cocoon. Silk industry began in China was kept a closely guarded secret for hundreds of years. Later on, traders and travelers introduced silk to other countries. The route they traveled is still called the Silk Route. Even today, China leads the world in silk production. India is also among the leading silk production countries of the world. In India, a large number of women are engaged in various activities related to the silk product, such as the rearing of silkworms, weaving of silk from cocoons, and processing of raw silk into fabrics. Thank you, friends. That's all for now. And after this part 2 of our lesson called Fiber and Fabric, we finished studying our lesson called Fiber and Fabric. Thank you, friends. Let's meet in the next video. Bye.